Drones used to deliver drugs. Now they might deliver war. Mexican cartels are no longer just smuggling, they're probing US military power. Could a $700 drone really threaten a $1 billion US aircraft carrier? In silence, the cartels advanced. No tanks, no warships, just drones. What began as smuggling has evolved into something far more sinister. Drones, once harmless toys, are now tools of war in the hands of criminal empires. They fly at night, unseen, loaded with fentanyl or explosives. At first, they watched border patrols. Now they test the edges of American military dominance. And their next possible target, a US Navy aircraft carrier, a floating fortress, a symbol of global power. If a cartel dares to strike it even just once, the consequences could rewrite the rules of engagement. Mexican cartels like CJNG and Sinaloa aren't just drug dealers anymore, they're drone tacticians. With drones costing less than $1,000, they spy on patrols, deliver drugs, and even drop bombs. In Arizona, some drones have flown 50 miles deep into the US. In Mexico, they've bombed rival gangs and police convoys. These aren't lucky experiments, they're signs of growing skill. Cartels are training dedicated drone operators who can hit targets with shocking accuracy. They don't need missiles, they just need numbers, precision, and audacity. Now imagine this. A drone veers off course and enters a US Navy exercise zone. Within seconds, it's vaporized by the ship's CIWS, a close-in weapon system that fires thousands of rounds per minute. One drone down. But what if it wasn't a mistake? What if it was a deliberate probe, a warning, a test? The US Navy is prepared for missiles, fighter jets, submarines, but not for a sky filled with plastic wings. Not for dozens of low-cost drones attacking all at once. And the cartels know it. Leaked intelligence from El Paso confirms the threat. Cartels are now strapping explosives to drones. Their targets, US Border Patrol and American troops. This isn't crime. It's asymmetric warfare. Former DEA official Gary J. Hale has issued a chilling warning: if a drone ever hits a US carrier, the US could label these cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. That opens the door to military strikes inside Mexico. What once sounded extreme is now entirely possible. Northcom isn't waiting. It's pushing for new authority to shoot down drones preemptively, even outside US borders. Current laws limit action until the threat is inside American airspace. But that's too late. Drones move fast. They don't ask permission. Northcom wants to strike first, especially when aircraft carriers are nearby. These ships are not just hardware, they're moving symbols of American might. Even a drone flying too close sends the wrong message that they're vulnerable. Cartels understand this psychology. They don't need to win in battle. They just need to create fear. A failed drone strike could still go viral. Headlines would scream vulnerability. Rivals would cheer. And even if no real damage is done, the perception alone would shift the balance. That's how cartels win, not through destruction, but through spectacle. And this is no longer theory. Cartels like CJNG have special drone warfare units. Operadores Droneros men trained to drop explosives from over 100 meters with deadly precision. If they can hit a police car, what stops them from hitting a carrier's flight deck? These ships are massive, but their radar can miss small, low-flying objects. Phalanx guns work against missiles, but swarms of drones. That's a different beast entirely. The US Army is deploying CIWS kits to 360 military bases to detect and destroy drones. But these kits weren't built for ocean combat. Carriers need better tools, lasers, AI-guided defenses, next-gen jammers. They're coming, but they're not ready yet. Until then, the threat remains. One smart swarm could find a weak spot and land a symbolic blow. Why would cartels take that risk? Because they're not thinking like nations. They don't follow military strategy. They follow fear dominance and shock value. A drone near a US carrier, even without explosives, is enough to shift public opinion, to make Americans question their invincibility, to make the world doubt US naval supremacy. That alone could be worth the risk. The Navy isn't blind to this. They're testing new systems, hardening defenses, and lobbying Congress for legal cover. But time is short. Cartels are innovating faster than bureaucracies can respond. They're watching how drones in Ukraine change warfare. And they're applying those lessons not with tanks, but with tech you can buy on Amazon. This is the new face of conflict, small, cheap, fast, and unpredictable. And it's not just a border problem anymore, it's a maritime threat. A national security challenge, a ticking clock. If the US waits for an incident, the price could be catastrophic, not just in damage, but in global reputation. So what happens next? Either the US gets ahead of the threat with decisive laws, smarter tech, and preemptive action, or it waits and reacts when it's already too late. One drone, one explosion, one headline. That's all it could take to change the game. And that's what Military Cipher wanted to share with you today. A look into the evolving war between cartel power and American naval strength. If you found this eye-opening hit, like, subscribe, and share this video. Because in this silent war, awareness is your first defense. Stay alert, stay strong. We'll see you in the next mission.